Good morning and welcome. The trade deadline is now less than 10 days away. Who's on the move? Who's staying put? All of that and more on TSP's Week 8 Behind the Blitz preview. There's so much to talk about. Happy Sunday. Let's get right into it. My name is Ari Pooley, along with co-host Evan Davis. We're excited to be back for Week 8 of TSP's Behind the Blitz. It's been a great first couple of weeks, but let's get right into the trade deadline. So, who's a buyer? Who's a seller? That's kind of the real question that any personnel person that I've spoken to has been wondering. They want to know who's buying, who's selling, who's on the move. So let's take a deeper dive into which teams fall into each category. Evan?
Yeah, looking at buyers right now, I'd say Bills, Steelers, and Giants. When we're looking at receivers, are the top three teams for receivers: Bills, Steelers, Giants. If we're looking at types of guys that are probably on the move, Jacoby Myers. I mean, he's been rumored. He has made it very clear that he wants a trade. Um, Even being asked, like he puts it bluntly. He says he wants to trade. Um, AJ Brown's been thrown around, but it looks like that's not going to happen. It would take a lot for AJ Brown to be on the move. He's obviously a superstar. Chris Olave, also very unlikely. Um, he's been thrown around a lot, and it looks like he's kind of losing steam in trade talks. But his teammate Rashid Shaheed, um, he's been gaining steam recently, and the Saints have made it known that for the right price, Shaheed is available. Um, and last but not least, Calvin Ridley at receiver. It's been disappointing for Tennessee. Obviously, made a mistake. Gambling. Um, I mean, he was a superstar for the Falcons. He had a few great seasons there for them. I think he still has the tools, and it won't take much to get him. Um, but I think he still has it. He would definitely help a team out. Still a deep threat. Cowboys, they're in the running for a pass rusher. I know they've been keeping tabs on Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. They called for Max Crosby, and they've been in on him for a bit. Um, Hendrickson, probably the least likely of the two. The Bengals kind of look for real right now. I mean, coming off that win last Thursday night against the Steelers, they kind of look more legit and look like they could be contenders. Um, if we're looking at the Eagles staying in the NFC East, cornerback, potentially edge rusher. The Eagles are definitely a team that is looking to buy. They've had their own issues, but they're 5-2, so they want to improve. Um, it's worth mentioning that Jermaine Johnson II has been linked to Philly from the Jets, and his teammate Michael Carter II, defensive back, could also be a candidate that is dealt. But I mean, the Jets, there's a lot of guys on the move, and Ari will go deeper into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And before I mention the teams that are likely to sell, I do see that a lot of people have been mentioning in the chat about Drake London, Darnell Mooney. Yes, it is true. Drake London has a groin injury, hip injury rather,
Injury.
and he is inactive. He will not be playing today against the New Orleans. Nope, not the New Orleans Saints. Who are they playing?
The Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins. I got them mixed up with the Buccaneers. But Drake
Yes.
London out, Darnell Mooney potentially double-digit targets. That'll be
Hmm.
an interesting one to watch. So I know a lot of people have said, should I pick up Mooney? Is Mooney gonna have a big day with London out?
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
I don't even need to go to Evan to say that because I know that he's gonna say that Darnell Mooney, if he's available, pick him up. If you need a receiver, that's a guy that you can go after. But as for teams that maybe sellers at the trade deadline, the Jets, as Evan mentioned, Jermaine Johnson, Michael Carter, those are two names that are available. We've heard Brees Hall in recent weeks. That seems to died down a little bit. But at the right price, he would be available. Another name to watch, wide receiver Alan Lazard, has been really a disappointment in New York. Could be available for a trade. The Steelers are looking for a wide receiver, Lazard. big buddies with Aaron Rodgers for a while, that would make a little bit of sense. I know the Steelers are targeting a little bit of a bigger fish, but if that doesn't work out, Lazard could be on the move to Pittsburgh. We posted this last night. The Tennessee Titans, literally everyone except for Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons are available. One name I was told to watch out for is tight end Chig Okonkwo. Uh, I know Evan's going to talk about this a little bit later. He might have a big day today, and that could potentially boost his trade value um, as the trade deadline nears. And then the Las Vegas Raiders. We mentioned Max Crosby. He's unlikely to be dealt. Uh, it seems like he's going to be staying put, but mentioned Jacoby Myers. He clearly wants out. Um, Another name, running back Zamir White. He no longer really fits in that backfield. Ashton Genty, second year running back Dylan Laube have kind of solidified themselves in that backfield. As Zamir White could be a trade candidate for a team that needs a running back. And I want to mention one other player. I'm told that Ravens running back Keaton Mitchell is a name to watch ahead of the trade deadline. He's really flashed in his first 3 seasons, but there's not really a need for him in Baltimore. They haven't really been utilizing him because he doesn't play on special teams. When he is active, he doesn't have much drawn up for him. So teams that could trade for a running back, the Chargers, the Chiefs have been linked to running backs, though I don't expect a move for the Chiefs before the deadline. Uh, Chicago Bears, the Chicago Bears, watch out for the Chicago Bears. They have DeAndre Swift, they have Kyle Monangai, but they could use a Keaton Mitchell, and they're a team to watch out for when it comes to Keaton Mitchell. And as for the Ravens, they have just one win, and outside of Mitchell, watch out for Mark Andrews. He's on an expiring contract, and he could be moved ahead of the deadline uh, for a team that needs a tight end. So, what does Keaton Mitchell bring to a team, potentially the Bears, potentially another team, if he's dealt?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Mitchell step up when guys are injured, um, when he's given the opportunity. He has 100% shown that he is capable of performing and in a starter type of role. Um, I mean, using the word flash, he is like a flash. Uh, when you watch him, he's really fast. He's really quick. Get through holes quick. He can get to the outside. He can be a good pass catcher for you. And he's pretty. You can kind of use him in any role. And I think when you're talking about the Bears, obviously Swift is great. Um, but I don't know if he can be like that every down consistently. I think Mitchell could 100% bring that third down role. Um, but even if Swift isn't there, Mitchell can be an every down back. In my humble opinion, um, he's very fast and he's always stepped up when injuries have given him the opportunity.
Let's stick on the trade deadline before we get into these games. I know we just got a question from a viewer that asks, could we see Kirk Cousins getting traded if he has a good game? And I know me and Evan talked about this literally right before we hopped on the show, is that Kirk Cousins is getting an opportunity. Michael Penix out, has a bone bruise in his knee. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Um, if I mean, I don't think it's any coincidence that the Falcons are making sure that Penix is healthy and giving Cousins a chance to show that he's still a guy in this league. He's been a guy in this league for a while now, almost a decade, and um, if he has a good game, he could definitely be dealt. That could be one to watch. And in terms of what he brings to a team, what does he bring to a team? What can we expect from him if he is traded and given an opportunity to be the starting quarterback of a team?
Well, I mean, if you watch that quarterback series on Netflix, I mean, you just see the type of guy he is. Like he is one of one when it comes to leadership. He brings that veteran presence. He brings positivity to a team, and he can lead anybody. And he leads by example. Um, and he's just a great guy. and it makes it even better when he performs. And I think he has the ability to still perform. And I think we're actually going to see that today. I think he's going to step in there and prove that he's still should be a starter in this league. I mean, he's being paid like one. I mean, that's a lot of money, um, but I think that he's going to prove today that he can still lead teams to victories. And I think if a team trades for him, he's going to bring everything that they need. And he's just an immediate presence to a team, can lift guys up. Um, we've seen that over and over. And if you haven't watched the quarterback series, you should. It's really good. But uh, I I like him to have a good game today, and I think teams are going to definitely take note of that.
Absolutely. And let's get right into these next games that are set to take place over the next 12 hours. Let's dive into the Jets and the Bengals. For the Jets, things got interesting this week. Aaron Glenn, head coach of the Jets, wouldn't publicly commit to a quarterback. Um, then a couple of days later, Woody Johnson literally publicly trashed Justin Fields, saying it's hard for a head coach to be successful when you have a quarterback like that. He literally said that. Uh, and now, after being benched last week for Tyrod Taylor, he's back at quarterback. Tyrod Taylor has a knee injury. He's out. So Fields is in. And after all that, Justin Fields has to play quarterback for the New York Jets today. It's demoralizing. It's genuinely demoralizing. I can only imagine being in Fields' position. But he's back at quarterback for the Jets. What do we expect for Justin Fields today? And what other names are there to note in terms of this game?
Well, outside of the quarterback situation, Brees Hall did have a knee injury that he's tending to this week, but he will play, as well as tight end Mason Taylor. He was tending to a quad injury, but they will both play today. It should be interesting. That is not a good situation. Like that can't happen where you publicly bash your quarterback, and now he's back at starter. Fields has definitely he's shown strides when it comes to leadership. He's taken responsibility. That's no question. Like I think he still has been a good leader. Just his performance has been great. But if there is ever a game to get back on track, I think it is this one against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I really think that it's really been a struggle for them. But I think the ground game can get going today, and if they get some confidence early on, if you see a first drive touchdown from Fields and the Jets, I think they could stay in the game, maybe even upset the Bengals. Um, but it all starts like right away. Like they really need a good jolt, a good drive against the poorest Bengals defense. But we'll see.
Yeah, you saw what he did in week 1 against the Steelers. I mean, they put up 30 plus points and they looked really good. They've definitely shown it's there. It's just a matter of bringing it out again. Um, Ravens Bears, another interesting quarterback situation. In this game, league MVP Lamar Jackson, there was optimism that he would return this week. Hasn't played since week 4 with a hamstring injury. There was optimism. Like I said, ultimately just wasn't able to go. Cooper Rush has been the backup in Baltimore with Lamar out. They're going to turn in a different direction today. It's going to be Tyler Snoop Huntley, former Pro Bowler. He'll be in the game for Baltimore today as they look to get back on track. 1-6. It's not good. It's not looking good. They're going to need to turn things around if they want to make the playoffs. They could be looking at a potential top 10 draft pick uh, if they don't turn things around. But what can we expect in that game today?
Yeah, I mean, as just an NFL fan, I just and being so into it, really wanted to see Lamar out there today. But I think Snoop Huntley will be better for them than Cooper Rush. And I think today they need to establish the ground game. The Bears have been susceptible all year to the ground game. And I think Snoop Huntley, since he can run himself better than Cooper Rush, obviously, um, they will be able to establish the ground game. Um, and that actually brings me to my first play, which is Derrick Henry over 88.5 rushing yards. I think that's a low line considering the Ravens are at home. They are favored in today's game. And I think their game plan will coincide with what I'm thinking here. They want to keep the Bears off the field today, for sure. The Ravens defense has not been that great, especially recently. I think Caleb Williams has a really good chance today to light it up. The Ravens have given up a lot of points this year. So if the Ravens can have some long drives, keep the Bears off the field, you get that read option with Henry and Huntley. You got to get Zay Flowers the ball too. Maybe a little end around, a couple screens. Um, get their guys the ball, get their stars the ball. And if Huntley just has a few big plays, I think the Ravens will be fine today. Um, but it will be interesting without Lamar. It won't be the same.
No, never the same when you're missing a two-time league MVP. I want to get into some questions here because we have gotten some questions, a lot about the Falcons, but also some fantasy football questions. First question for you being, do you think the Falcons will end up covering the spread, which is Falcons favored 6.5, even without uh, Penix and Drake London?
I think they will. The Dolphins have looked horrible. Um, the Falcons have a great defense on the other side. Obviously everything's about Kirk Cousins this week and no Drake London, yada yada. But the Falcons defense has been impressive this year. They've improved a lot. And Tua for some reason can't see his receivers. So I don't know if they're gonna have much success today. Obviously, Achan's a big part of their game plan. But if they can't get him going, um, I like Kirk to to definitely play above average ball today. And I don't think it'll be much of a difference with him in there. Um, and the Dolphins have been really bad against running backs, and obviously the Falcons have like the best guy on their team at running back, and Bijan Robinson. So yeah, I would probably take that gamble with Falcon spread today.
Best running back in the league, undeniable.
Yeah.
Keaton Johnson has a question for us. Wants to
Okay.
know if you would start DK Metcalf or CD Lamb.
Ooh. I like DK's matchup better, but like I feel like you just can't bench CD Lamb. That guy has potential to be wide receiver one every week, so it's gonna be CD.
Absolutely. CD, I mean, CD, you can't go against that guy. He always has a chance to be wide receiver one in fantasy football every single week. But
Regardless of matchup.
yeah, absolutely. Let's move into another game that has some questions at quarterback. We mentioned a little bit earlier. Kirk Cousins in, Michael Penix out. That's the big story here. But also Atlanta is going to be without their star wide receiver in Drake London. As for Penix Jr., I'm told it's just a bone bruise in his knee, but obviously he's torn his ACL multiple times in college, a couple times at Indiana. Um, so there have been some serious concerns with that knee in the past. This is why they've kept Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. They've kept him there for a reason, and now he gets to show everyone why. As for a timeline for Penix, should be back next week. There's no major concerns there. They just want to play it cautiously with that. Is there anything that you see from this Falcons Dolphins game that you want to touch on?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of touched it. Um, with that question. But but yeah, obviously no London. We've talked that Kirk. I think Kirk will step in and do a good job today. Kyle Pitts is a guy to watch today. Darnell Mooney. I think Mooney will get a lot of action today. Kirk Cousins has in the past he's targeted Darnell Mooney heavily. Um, to the chagrin of Kyle Pitts fantasy owners. But Mooney, I think, could get double-digit targets today. You could see him getting in the end zone. Kinda depends on the game script. Um, I do like the Falcons, like we talked about, the spread, I think they win by a touchdown, or more. Um, but yeah, I think, Darnell Mooney is your guy today if you're looking at fantasy, you're looking at betting purposes. If you're looking for just a plug and play. But I do like the Falcons today.
Yeah, and before we move into the rest of these games, I just want to send our condolences from the sports place from TSP to Nick Mangold, former Jets legend, and his family. It was just announced that Mangold passed away at 41 years old uh, due to complications from kidney disease. That's a heartbreaking situation, heartbreaking story, and really one of the best New York Jets to put on that uniform. So prayers go out to him and his family. Um, and yeah, I mean, one of the best New York Jets of all time. So
Yeah.
sending our best out to his family, everyone impacted. Uh, really, really a sad situation. So we talked about the Falcons. Let's stay in the same division as the Falcons. Carolina will play at home against the vaunted Bills. But they'll be without starting quarterback Bryce Young. Seems like every team in the league has a quarterback situation. Bryce
Mhm.
Young out. He's got a low grade ankle sprain. Andy Dalton, veteran quarterback, will be in for the Panthers. Like I said, low grade ankle sprain for Young. He actually made significant progress during the week. He injured it last week, and ankle sprains, it's going to knock you out a couple weeks, but he made significant progress this week. And there was not a lot of optimism, but there was some optimism for him to make a miraculous recovery, but ultimately erred on the side of caution. But there's no long-term injury concern here, just a low-grade ankle sprain. So he'll be out. Andy Dalton will be in. What can we expect in Carolina versus Buffalo?
Yeah, well, talking about Young's injury, I think it is right to be cautious. Like, they're playing the Bills this week. Um, I don't think, regardless of QB, they're gonna win this game. Obviously, you never know any given Sunday, but I really don't like their chances today. I think they will be down a good bit. But with Dalton in there, if we're talking fantasy wise, I think he helps the Panthers' weapons. McMillan, Leggett, you might even see little Jalen Coker action. Um, and especially the Panthers' options out of the backfield. Um, Dowdle and Hubbard. The Bills have been susceptible to running backs out of the backfield. Um, and you know, staying there, I do have a bet. Um, Chuba Hubbard over 12.5 receiving yards. He got a bulk of the passing work over Dowdle last week, and it was kind of surprising to me. Hubbard came right in and took 55% of snaps over Dowdle, which is surprising, but I think you could see that even go up, especially when they're down in the game. I think they see Hubbard as a better guy in the passing game, and I think you're going to see him involved. On the Bills side of things, um, offensively, I think you're going to see the tight ends get a bit of work today. A lot of cover three in Carolina, and that's where Allen loves to go to his tight ends. So I think Panthers defense hasn't been great. You're going to see a Bills tight end score today. That's my take. That's my prediction. And I like the Bills. And when the Panthers are down, Dalton's going to check it down. He's going to get it to Chuba and Dowdle.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's lead into another matchup with yet another team without a quarterback. 49ers, Texans. Brock Purdy still dealing with that turf toe. Mac Jones will be in again for another week. What can we expect on the Houston side of things and for the 49ers as well?
Yeah, well, Mac Jones in there. Besides last week, he's really been slinging the rock. I think his line day is only 219 and a half. I know the Texans have a great defense, but he's had 270 plus, I think, in 4 of the 5 games he started. So look for him to potentially have another good game. I think Kittle's going to get more involved. Last week he had, I think, no yards, and he was, telling everybody like, don't bet on me. Sorry for the betters out there, but I think Kyle Shanahan's going to get him the ball today. I think I'm going to be keying in on CMC in the pass game. The Texans haven't really allowed a lot of running backs to catch the ball out of the backfield, so I think you might see CMC getting extra attention, which is kind of crazy because he already gets a bunch of attention, but extra attention, especially in the passing game. So I think George Kittle is the guy to watch for the Niners. But on the Texans side of things, Nico Collins, he's out with a concussion. Christian Kirk, hamstring, also out. Not great there for the Texans. Stroud down as top two pass catchers. But good thing they got Dalton Schultz. He's my third bet that I'm sharing here. Over 49.5 receiving yards for Dalton Schultz today. He's coming off a game where he had 9 for 98. That's impressive. He's had 5+ catches, I think, in his last 4 games, and that should only go up. Um, he should be getting the ball a lot today. Um, I think it'll be a close one. Um, two decent defenses, um, both dealing with injuries offensively. But I think Schultz steps up for Houston. Um, Not sure. I'm not really leaning towards a side in that game with the injuries, but I think it'll be low scoring for sure. But watch for Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, for sure. Losing their top two weapons is not easy to recover from. They have a bunch of young guys: Jalen Knoll, Xavier Hutchinson, Jaden Higgins.
Hmm.
Those are guys that could really take a step up. And when we talk about the NFL, you mentioned anything can happen in the NFL, and we saw that just a couple of weeks ago with the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. That's one of the biggest upsets, if you will, this season is the New York Giants taking down the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football just a couple of weeks ago. Now the two teams set to square off again, but this time Philadelphia is going to be without A.J. Brown. Has a hamstring injury. It's highly unlikely that he will be traded before the deadline. I will say that. We talked about the deadline. I don't think he's going to get moved before the deadline, but keep an eye out on A.J. Brown, man. Keep an eye out on that situation. Might not be in the deadline. Maybe in the off season something's gonna happen. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But that's all I'm gonna say. Just keep an eye out on that situation. It's one to watch. I know there's been reports, mass amounts of reports. AJ Brown's unhappy, AJ Brown's agitated, AJ Brown's not getting the ball. And it seems kind of just repetitive, but it's there for a reason. Things are going on behind the scenes and just keep an eye out on that situation.
Yeah, we've heard rumblings there. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. But hopefully that can improve, and hopefully he can go out there and do something when he comes back from injury for the Philadelphia Eagles. But talking about this game today, the Giants, that 2-5 record, I don't think that really shows what type of team they are. I think they're better than what the record says, and we saw that. Obviously, they upset the Eagles on Thursday Night Football. They were destroying the Broncos last week until they gave up that comeback. I do like the Giants to stay in this one, and I think the AJ Brown being out is big. Um, but the Giants are going to stay in this one. I think Dart and Scadaboo, that combo has been really good. There's a lot of good chemistry there with that Giants offense. I think they're all really on the same page right now, and they're firing on all cylinders. But once again, I'll say it again: Saquon Barkley is the key. Once again, against his former team, like, he's got to get the ball, um, and that line's gotta block for him. We haven't really seen him break any runs this year, and that's kind of the big thing. If they're going to run away with this game, Saquon Barkley, like, he's got to do something. And I'm not saying it's him, but that's Like he's got to be the guy. He's got to be the guy, especially with Brown out. On the Giants side of things, again, watch out for Darius Slayton today. The Eagles run a lot of one high coverage. I think about 60% of the time. That's one of the highest rates in the league. You're gonna see a lot of man, a lot of cover three. Slayton beats those coverages pretty often. He's obviously not as targeted as Wan'Dale Robinson or the tight ends in this offense, but I could see him making a big play today, and that could determine the outcome of this game. So just watch out for him.
On the Eagles side, you mentioned Devontae Smith. Gonna have a big game. Watch out for Jahan Dotson. Wide receiver out of Penn State, heading into the final stretch of his 4th season in the NFL, headed into a contract year. A big year for him would kind of set him up for a nice little contract in the off season. So he could be a guy. He has been a guy that has shown lots of potential in bursts. The consistency may not be there, but if he gets a couple targets here, gets a couple targets there, watch out for him to be a guy that makes some plays today against the New York Giants. And want to remind everybody watching that this isn't just us talking. This is a one-to-one interactive show. If you have any questions, betting questions, fantasy football questions, be sure to put them in the chat. We're going to get to as many as we can, and we're going to get to some right now. Question about James Cook, Bills running back James Cook. Would you go? So this is a choice of bets. I don't know that we've ever gotten a choice of bets on
Choice of bets.
a
Okay.
player ever. It's would you go over 72 rushing yards, 72 plus rushing yards, or 90 plus rushing and receiving?
I would go 90 plus rushing receiving for Cook. The Panthers have not been great against running backs out of the backfield. Could be a negative game script for that type of thing. But one big play in the passing game is all Cook needs, and he's going to get the rock in the run game. I could see him just going 90 plus with just rushing. So I think 90 plus is your move.
Question from JSig __, who asks, would you start David Njoku or Josh Downs in your flex?
I think I would go Josh Downs. Fannon's kind of taken over there in Cleveland. The Patriots have been susceptible to tight ends, but Downs is a target monster there in the slot. Good matchup today against Tennessee. Could see him get in the end zone. Colts could put up 40 today, so I'll go Downs.
Today's National Tight Ends Day. What do you think about tight ends in terms of betting? Is there anyone that sticks out to you that could be a good pick, whether it's for a touchdown, yards, receptions? We talked a little bit about Dalton Schultz.
I like today Theo Johnson in New York. I think we could see him potentially score a touchdown. Harold Fannin talked about Njoku. I think Fannin could have a big day in Cleveland. Zach Ertz on Monday night is definitely one to look out for. We talked about George Kittle. I think George Kittle, yards-wise, could be very good. I talk about touchdowns and kind of like maybe a kind of far shot touchdown. Colston Loveland.
Dealing with a little bit of audio issues, everybody has been mentioning. I guess we sounded like robots. So
Yeah, I did.
We'll see if that got fixed. But we'll just continue to go ahead. We went on mute for a couple of seconds, but we should be good now. So things should be okay. I guess we should get right into the final game of the week while we wait for some questions. Actually, no, we just got a question here from Justin Lukens. Sorry for the indecisiveness. PPR, Jerry Jeudy, Hunter Henry, Keyshawn Boutte.
Mm, I think PPR wise, I would go Jerry Jeudy. I think he has the most opportunity there to get receptions for you. Rudy's been a touchdown machine. Um, but honestly,
Hello, hello, hello. We should be back.
all right, cool.
We should be back. Let us know in the chat if we are still sounding like robots. Uh, we're back. We're back for a couple more minutes. I'm gonna just make sure that our audio is good. If we sound alright, please let us know. We were just sounding like robots a couple seconds ago. Um, so we're gonna keep an eye on that before we dive into the final game that we were going to talk about, and then additionally, nope, we still sound like robots.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's never good.
No.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, wait, hold on. All right. All right, we sound good now. We're good for now.
You sure?
I mean, no.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Great, 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 great.
No, I'm not sure, but
All right. Sometimes
what
when you're
are
not sure, that's when you're sure. You know what
what
I mean?
are we even sure about in life?
Exactly.
You
That's when you
know?
jump.
I mean, actually, technically, you don't know because what
Right.
are we
Well,
even
actually, we
sure
don't know
about?
anything. That's actually a philosophy thing where it's like you don't know anything. So like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
don't pretend like you do because you don't.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we're about to go live on. We're live. We're still live on TikTok. If everybody's on TikTok with us, please uh have a little bit of grace.
Should I go into philosophy or something? Or are you
No,
on
no, no,
mute?
no.
Are we on mute? No.
No, we're not on mute. We're
Should I
live.
go into like a history, like George Washington or something?
Let me check our TikTok to see
He
if
didn't
we're
chop down a cherry tree.
all right. Hold on. Appreciate you though.
Why the chicken cross the road? The chicken crossed the road.
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
All right.
It's thick as the other side if you didn't know. But yeah,
All right, we're back on Instagram live.
so back.
Third time's a charm. Third time's a charm. Hopefully we're good.
For
Let me
sure.
know real quick if our audio is messed up. We're gonna get into the Packers Steelers. We're gonna answer some of your questions real quick, and then we're gonna head on out to post the rest of these games. Well, all of these games. None of them started. Let me know in the chat if our audio is good. I think we fixed it. I think we're good there. Just let me know. I know we're still joining in, so still waiting on those answers, but I think we're good. I think we're good. Don't know what happened there. We sounded like robots for a couple seconds. AI is getting pretty crazy.
Yeah, AI is getting really crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let us know if you can hear us all right. Audio is good. So let's get right into it. Not with the Packers and Steelers. Let's get into some questions. Xander Simmons asks, I'm starting Ferguson, Jake Ferguson, and I need a flex. Would you go Tyler Warren or Rashad White?
Ooh. I mean, having those two tight ends is like a blessing. But I'll go with Rashad White because I think he's gonna have a lot of opportunity today. Obviously the Bucks are banged up. And I think they take care of business today. I think he can run and have some receiving against the Saints today.
Absolutely. You can't go wrong with any of those tight ends or Rashad White this week. I know Bucky Irving's still out, but for now, when Rashad White is the head of that backfield, it's a great option. It's a great option.
Mhm.
Let's dive into the Packers, the Steelers, Sunday night football. Aaron Rodgers returns, not returns to Green Bay, but returns in a game against his former team. Um, the Green Bay Packers are playing at Acrisure Stadium. I want to mention one thing before we dive a little bit into the game, before Evan dives a little bit in the game, is that University of Pitt, they play their games at Acrisure Stadium, formerly Heinz Field. They played there less than 24 hours ago. Immediately following the game, they have to turn the field into from Pitt to Steelers branding. I hope nobody gets hurt. But all I'm going to say is if somebody gets hurt on that playing surface tonight, They have not they can't grow the field back. They can't grow the grass back because it's the cool Pennsylvania fall season. Grass doesn't grow back in PA. If someone gets hurt, God forbid, there's going to be a discussion. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a discussion league wide about that field because it's not turf, it's natural grass and it's all run down and PA fall grass doesn't grow in that type of year. Just watch out for that. I hope no one gets hurt, but just watch out for that field. That there's it's been a topic of discussion over the past couple of weeks is they don't give it a chance to grow. There's two teams that play on it back to back, 24 hours. People have been talking about it, and that's been a topic of discussion around league circles. If someone slips, even doesn't even have to be an injury. If you remember the Super Bowl between the Chiefs a couple years ago, people were slipping all over the field. That stuff like that, like it's the NFL. It's the highest quality of football. They need the highest quality surfaces, highest quality everything. And if they're not getting that, there's going to be a real discussion about that. But that was my little tangent. Let's dive a little bit into that game.
Yeah, well, the Packers are getting some help at receiver. Christian Watson, he was recovering from his torn ACL. He'll be back tonight. He's going to make his season debut. So good, great for them. When he's on the field, he's a touchdown machine and a deep play threat. And Jordan Love loves going to him. Loves going, yeah. But it loves going to him down the field and in the end zone. So watch out for him. I don't think he's going to be out there as much. I think they'll probably ease him back in. Um, on the other hand, Matthew Golden is expected to play tonight. He was dealing with forget it was like a hip or something, some type of injury. But he's expected to play. Dontavian Wicks is out at receiver. So Golden Watson in probably Wicks out. Uh, for this game, I like it to be high scoring tonight. Rogers versus Love. The veteran versus you know, the guy that has been working under Rogers for what was it, 3 years. It's going to be fun to watch. I don't think we're going to see a lot of defense tonight. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Um, one guy to watch is Tucker Kraft tonight for the Packers. The Steelers haven't been great against tight ends, and when the Steelers playing one high coverage, which is cover one, cover three, Tucker Kraft destroys that type of coverage, that type of scheme. I think you could see him getting the end zone tonight. Once again, talking about National Tight Ends Day. A lot of potential for tight ends today. Um, so I think Tucker Kraft is the guy tonight for the Packers offense. But I think as a whole, they're going to be very good. Um, and Rodgers is going to be firing all cylinders against his former team. So my prediction for tonight, I'm going Packers 30-27 on the road. I think it's going to be close and high scoring, and I think it's going to be one of the best games of the season.
You mentioned Tucker Kraft, former South Dakota State University alumni. They just got blown out by North Dakota State yesterday in a 1 versus 2 matchup, 38-7. That was a beatdown. There was a highly anticipated matchup, and it didn't go in South Dakota State's favor. Let's get to some questions here before we have to go and cover these NFL games. Shot Blocka 2 asks Colston Loveland or Chigakonkwo.
I like both of those guys this week. I think they both have great potential. Um, I'm gonna go Chig this week. Um, it's been kind of weird that the Bears haven't really gotten Loveland's involved a whole lot. I know they have a lot of weapons, but like I said before, I think the Ravens are going to try to hold on to that ball as much as they can and keep that Bears offense off the field. I think Chigakonkwo, we've talked about him in trade talks. I think they're going to feature him today. I think he might be their leading receiver today against the Colts, who have not been great against tight ends. And the coverages that the Colts play right into Chigakonkwo's game. The catch and run is going to be great for him. I think Ward's going to be targeting him a lot, so I'd go Chig.
I'll take this question. Joey Moore asks Do you think Brian Thomas Jr. gets traded? As we posted earlier this week, Brian Thomas has been statistically very bad in his second year. Sophomore slump a little bit. Do I think he gets traded? No, I don't think he gets traded. I just think that was a little bit of buzz. Teams looking to get a stud wide receiver. Brian Thomas is he showed last year what he's capable of. And he might be having a down year this year, but he's valuable to that Jaguars team. I know they brought in a new regime last year. Could be something to do with that. I don't think he gets dealt. I just think it kind of sends a little bit of a message to BTJ saying, "Hey, you got to step it up. You got to step it up. You've been struggling this year. We're really depending on you, and we need you to kind of turn it around and focus back in on what you were doing last year." So that's what I think about that. I don't think he gets moved before the deadline. Lone Wolf underscore 27 asks, would you start Roma Dunze or Rashid Shaheed?
Roma Dunze. No question there. Roma Dunze.
Another question from Joey Moore asking, would you start Bill Krusky Merritt or Tyler Algier?
Bill, no doubt.
How about a quarterback situation? Justin Lukens wants to know if he should start Jets starting quarterback, benched quarterback, then starting quarterback, Justin Fields, or Falcons starting quarterback, bench quarterback, starting quarterback, Kirk Cousins.
Mm, boy, oh boy. Uh, wow. You must be in some cahoots at quarterback, or you got a bye week problem this week. Um, yeah, I would go Kirk Cousins. I think yards wise, both of those guys. I don't know if they'll be putting up crazy numbers, but I think touchdowns. Kirk's got the advantage there this week.
I don't know if those are two guys that you want to be depending on if you're looking fantasy wise. Talked a little bit about this, but I just want to reaffirm what your stance is. K underscore Fry 11 asks, would you start Chuba Hubbard or Rico Dowdle? And also says that he's leaning towards starting Rico Dowdle.
I would start Chuba Hubbard this week. Like I said, I was surprised that Chuba got more snaps than Rico. I knew it'd probably be close, but Chuba getting more his first week back after what Dowdle did. And like I said before, Chuba I think will be involved more in the passing game, and Dalton loves throwing to the running backs out of the backfield, and they're going to be down today, I think, and against the Buffalo Bills. So I'd go Chuba. I know that's really close, but Chuba.
Wide receiver question here. We're gonna get to a couple more. It's around 12:30 Eastern. Game start at 1 o'clock, so we're gonna get to a couple more. I put in the chat that we have 5 more questions left. We're right around that 5 question limit. Wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs for sure. He's got a good matchup with Cleveland today. I do like the Browns defense, but they play a lot of man, and Diggs has historically been one of the best receivers against man coverage. So I think we could see him having had a lot of action today.
Rashad White against the Saints or Cam Scatterboo against the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's a close one. But since I like the Giants' trajectory right now, and definitely a lot more possibility for a Scatterboo touchdown than a White touchdown, I'd go Scatterboo.
And I want to end it on this question because it's National Tight Ends Day. National Tight Ends Day. There's going to be lots of talk when all the tight ends get catches and score touchdowns. That it's National Tight Ends Day. We got to celebrate tight ends. So let's end on a little bit of a tight end question. If I can find it, Jay Bari with 3 eyes wants to know if he should start, or he or she should start Dallas Goddard or George Kittle on National
Oh
Tight
boy,
Ends
oh
Day.
boy. That's a great question. They're pretty close. They're pretty close. I think I would go George Kittle. Um, I think Goddard has the better matchup, plus with AJ Brown out. But like, I think you got to keep Kittle in in your lineup. The Niners are also dealing with some injuries. Kittle's going to get the ball more. Like he's going to get it after having nothing last week. Um, and I think if you're looking at betting lines, Kittle has the higher receiving yardage line. So Kittle by like a little bit, but I wouldn't mind going the other way.
Well, to anybody that was watching, happy National Tight Ends Day. If you celebrate, happy NFL Sunday. We hope your fantasy teams do well. We hope your betting picks do well. We hope you have a great Sunday. Anything that you want to say before we head on out?
Just enjoy yourself. You only live once, right? Life is short. You never know what's going to happen. There's uncertainty, right? The only certainty is that you know you're alive, right? That's the only certainty. So embrace that today and live life to the fullest.
Let's do it. Let's have a good Sunday. We look forward to giving you guys NFL coverage, and we look forward to being back next week in week 9. This was